Guys, welcome to another episode of the YouTubers Bunch. This is kind of a special one this time. Today, we have Ray Novak from Icom with us on the YouTubers Bunch, and Ray is going to answer all of our questions, even the personal questions. So with that, stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Ray.
Good. So thanks, Bob. This is great timing for prequel to this is being recorded before the YouTubers Hamfest, obviously, so that we can have more information to put up on the channel and stream that day. This will be a pre-recorded video, but it's going to be really cool because I guarantee you, if everybody was actually in Xenia, Ohio, the weekend of May 16th, the Icom IC-705 would be the most talked about radio. So I'm glad that Ray, thanks for joining us tonight, and it's going to be a good talk. So I guess we're just going to open it up to everybody. Bob, is that we're going to just say question and answer time? Is that it?
Yeah, let's just open it up, and guys, if you got a question, raise your hand. I will raise my hand first, and
yeah, raise your hand.
Ray, number one, how you doing? And thank you for joining us. All the rage, all the talk this year is the Icom 705. What's the current status of the 705?
Well, at the time of recording, we do not have a clear answer as far as when it will be released. It has been delayed because of the coronavirus, and that's pretty much all that I've got at this point.
I saw something on, now this is Facebook, Ray, so this is probably not right, okay? But somebody on Facebook said they had read from Icom it was August. Is there any truth to that at all?
I haven't seen August yet.
Okay. I assumed that was wrong because I read it on Facebook.
Do we have any other questions from the audience?
I'll go in and poke the bear with probably the biggest question that I've gotten or the most comments on my interview with Ray at Hamcation. Why no internal tuner?
No internal antenna tuner. One of the reasons was to keep it to the size format that the product is right now. The second thing is looking to towards more efficient antennas that you can tune either with a mag loop or an antenna that you've got that is resonant for the frequency that you want to use. Because when you're looking at QRP, and I know a lot of you guys that are on this panel right now have done SOTA work, and you know the efficiencies when you're working QRP that you have to play around with.
You mentioned to keep the form factor the size that it is that because you've got things like the sound card, the USB sound card already connected to it, and you've got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and the things that were added to the radio?
Those really wouldn't be what would have prevented that from being in there. The biggest thing is RF in a confined space.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And to be able to make sure that you don't have anything resonant inside the radio itself to interfere. That's always a consideration that has to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. That's why.
So I've got
I think also the lack of internal antenna tuner is to force hams to build new and resonant antennas.
Yeah. I mostly use resonant antennas when I'm doing my portable stuff. So would it be nice to have? Yes, I could use my end-fed and stuff, but I've got the Wolford recoils, I've got a link dipole, I got all kinds of things that I can use. So for me it's not a deal breaker, but yeah, that was the one that I think really hit home with a lot of folks is why no tuner?
Yeah, that's the biggest question that's been asked of it.
Most of my POTA activations have been with a radio that did not have an internal tuner. I won't mention the name of the radio. But resonant antennas, yes, very much so.
All of my POTA videos to date All of my POTA videos to date have been with this IC-7300. I'll say that right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've taken mine portable. It works great.
Yeah, I've seen your
Temporary offline. You had your hand up.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started hitting the record button, but give me a sales pitch. Why would I want to buy the 705 over something else, like say a KX3 or something in that range?
Well, when you take a look at the package of the 705, you've got the combination of their accessory products along with the radio itself. And I know from my using a mag loop, having the screen on there where you can see the noise level come up and actually see it move across the screen, it makes it real easy to tune with it. You can see what activity's out there. Internal sound card, as mentioned earlier, you've got Bluetooth, so you could have it in the backpack, Bluetooth headset while you're doing your soda hike. With the battery that comes with it, great little FM 2-meter 440 radio to either work the repeaters or work others that are in your group to make sure everybody's safe and making it up the trail. Technology-wise, it is a direct sampling receiver up to 25 megahertz, and then it is a single down conversion receiver for 25 meg on up. Also, the 2-meter 440 sideman AM, FM, internal decoder for RTTY, PSK31, and there's so much that's inside this box.
It's a nice unit. I was really impressed to see what you guys have done, and I've got my reservation in for it.
Thank you.
Goodgame. You got anything?
Yeah, I know that people have talked back and forth about the battery, and no idea on battery life, what it's gonna look like once.
Not at this point. That has been something that's been probably the best. I've worked on the English brochures, both the preliminary one and the final one, but the back page that has all the radio specifications have intentionally been left off. Now, I know curiosity got the best of us with the prototype that we had, and because of it being a prototype, I can't say anything, but we did put a current meter in line with it on 13.8 on receive, and we were really blown away by the numbers that we saw.
Very, very nice. First, I know Josh and 741 are up, but Kyle, you had your hand up. It is good to be the king.
Yeah.
So Steve took my question, but a little bit more about the battery. Is it going to have an external cord that I can plug another battery into the 705 and use another battery if I use all the internal battery? And I guess is the battery internal or is it external and it's removable? And where are you going to have some type of charging cradle, or how do you actually charge that battery?
Well, quite a few questions there. First one, yes, there's 13.8 input on it for DC voltage. The battery pack, while people call it internal, it's actually a snap-on on the back, and it's the high-capacity battery that comes with that is optional. Comes with the 705, but is optional for our ID31A and our ID51A series radios. So it's a battery pack that's out there, dual purpose for both we're calling this a handheld or a portable radio to begin with. As far as charging, with it being a handheld battery pack, we do have a 12-volt rapid charger for it. There's also, from what we saw with the prototype, you can charge the Icom battery pack using USB. So there's many different ways that you can power the radio and charge it.
Very nice. Josh.
Yeah, I'm always curious when new radios come out, what kind of accessories, not just bundled, but like maybe a product line of accessories that we may see for the 705. Is there anything that's announced or maybe will be announced?
There will be some things announced. I think there's going to be an even larger optional battery pack from Icom for it. I mentioned the ham radio side of the house, but also that battery pack works with our IP series radio, whether it's the IP100, which is wireless LAN radio, or our LTE product with the IP501. So there's a whole series of radios that uses that battery pack. I do see other manufacturers developing hardware to go along with it. Alpha Antenna has built a mag loop that I've been playing around with. Been talking with the guys at Buddy Pole about a package for it as well. And I see quite a few things being built for it, like some of the other QRP radios. And even for the 703, there's been guys that have made brackets to carry it with that were our third party. So I think there's going to be a lot of people doing things for it.
Okay, 741 and then Jason.
Well, I actually had the same question as Josh, so you pretty much answered it.
Okay, Jason.
All right, so I'm good friends with Chris at Buddy Pole. He and I have gone on to D-Expedition together 2 or 3 times, and he actually, I'm glad you said that, Ray, because I didn't know if it was hush-hush or not. But
hold on.
But and there
he's going to grab it right now. He's going to hold it up for us.
You go grab it.
Can you show it to us? Is it a prototype or is it what? I mean,
it's a prototype right now. One of the things that I really like about it is the matching unit. One of them are these graphite tripod legs that fit in there real nice. About a 15-foot coax section for it. But this is the base. Tuning section on it. And while you've got the long legs for it, you've also got short ones. And the short ones allow you to go directly to the radio with a BNC to BNC connector.
Very nice.
Nice.
So the legs will put the antenna at the same height, or the base of the antenna at the same height as the radio.
Cool.
Oh, so it's semi-connected to the radio. It's like coming off of the radio, basically, the antenna system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've seen those AX antennas that
Yeah,
Elecraft
I have one.
It's similar. It's similar to that.
Okay.
Very cool. Let's see. I want to go across the pond here, so to speak, to Chris and Callum. Ray, are you allowed to talk across the pond?
Oh yeah, I'll talk to anybody.
Okay. Let's see. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll chip in. Yes, very good day, sir. My name's Callum. I don't have a problem with, and this is because there'll be people watching this as well, with a rig not having an ATU. All my radios have got an ATU, but I don't think I've ever used them just for a bit of fun, maybe. Oh, my aerial's CRAP today. I'll use the AT button while I go and work it out. So, if it keeps the form factor down, it keeps the complexity down, it keeps the cost down, then I don't think it should put anybody off not having an inbuilt ATU. All that it's doing is encouraging you to go out and make the right aerial or buy the right aerial instead of just using some piece of unrepeatable word.
Well, I appreciate that thought. And earlier in my career, I worked for an antenna or a manufacturer of ATUs.
Yeah.
And so many people do not understand the difference between a transmatch and an antenna tuner.
Yeah.
It's got a coax connector on it. All you're doing is making the radio happy to put out maximum power.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 10-to-1 SWR, you're going to still see it at the input of the coax to the antenna, and you're going to have so much loss that you're going to be blaming the radio as why you're not working anybody.
That's right. And it's amazing what a properly tuned antenna system will give them. Because a lot of folks, they are using some weird and wonderful stuff that they've grown up with or that they've just come accustomed to. and they're used to tuning the nuts off some antenna or whatever. When reality is they should just rebuild it, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, being a 705, I'm assuming people are going to go out in their vehicles. They're going to be going up a hill. They're going to be playing. It's quite easy to create, you know, from a link dipole or a fan vertical or whatever else, a nice little antenna system. And very often, I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of people have got their favorite bands anyway. So it's not like you need 160 all the way up to 6 every time you go up a hill. You're going to be going, well, today I'm going to do a bit of 40 and I'm going to do a bit of 20. So you just take the right kit with you, maybe 10 or something if it's in the summer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guys that I talk to that buy our 7100, they talk about, oh, I got to have all bands. So they go and get their favorite screwdriver antenna. And then you talk to them and they're like, well, I go to work early in the morning, I'm on 40. And then when I go home from work, I'm on 20.
Yeah, and that's it.
And you could use a ham stick for that very easily.
That's it. I've got 2 antennas on my car. One's a 40 and one's a 20. Exactly the same. I don't need all the baloney. I nearly said bollocks then, Bob.
This is going to be on Bob's channel, so we're good.
Yeah, you can say bullets all you want.
And so remind me your name, sir. It's Steve, is it?
Ray.
Oh,
Ray.
Sorry.
Ray, yeah. It's difficult to mix that up, really, isn't it, Ray? And are you contracted to wear a red T-shirt and red polo shirt all the time?
No, I've been told that I look better in red, and whoever's using a black keying would just disappear.
Yeah, very good.
Like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
Thanks, Bob and Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, over to you. You
Yeah,
got
okay.
anything for Ray?
Yeah, thank you. 2 things. I don't think the lack of a tuner is a huge problem. You know, in the UK, we've got SOTA beams. You know, they do some very inexpensive tuners. The 705 is sort of QRP, isn't it? It's fairly low power. So you can add a small tuner to it. But my main question was, what is the receive rate, the receive coverage on the 705? You know, the receive RF coverage.
Trying to remember what was on the preliminary brochure, but I believe it's general coverage all the way up to 60 megahertz. AM aircraft, so it'll be or FM broadcast, AM aircraft, so at least up to probably 174. I don't know if there's going to be anything in the 220 range for receive, but more than likely it would pick back up around 420 to go to probably 480.
Yeah, because when you can't do you do an amateur radio, if you can't do analog, there's nothing going on. You go over to digital, and if you can't do either, you have a listen about. You use it as a receiver, so that's very good.
Yeah, they don't give the exact frequency range, but the European versions will have 70 megahertz band as well. So that's what, 4 meters?
Yeah, that's right, 4.
Okay. But they do say FM broadcast and airband reception, so probably will receive up to the 4 meter band.
But it definitely won't transmit on 77s.
Oh no, it will transmit on 77.
Okay.
It would be really nice to get a radio that had airband transmit and ham radio transmit all in one box.
Yeah, the FCC won't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My question. I'm sorry, Bob. My question was: is there a different model in the European Union than there is in the USA? And I think you answered that a second ago. So they'll take out 6 meters and add 4 meters. Is that basically it?
No, they'll still have 6 meters in it.
Okay.
That's just the addition of 4 meters.
Okay.
Okay.
And will this be very locked down? I'm very sorry to interrupt. And then I'll shut up, Ray. Will this be locked to the 70 centimeters band, or will it be, because I've heard that there's a quite stringent requirement now to make sure that these things only transmit on the amateur bands, and no amount of mods will open them up to, let's say, 446, which is it's like a CB band in the UK, in the European Union, 446.
I'm not really sure. The hams like to call it the Mars modification for transmit everywhere. I don't know what frequency range. I would feel that traditionally we have the Mars modifications, but we don't have enough information right now.
Don't worry, that's cool. I'll go back to mute.
With the historical things that we've seen with the 9700, it probably will be pretty tight around the 2 meter and 70 centimeter frequency range.
Cool.
Ray, that kind of brings me to a kind of a question maybe you haven't heard before. Has ICOM ever thought of, or would they consider doing or building in like a soft Mars modification where you go in with software and unlock it, as opposed to having to crack the case open and cut capacitors?
Well, we look at the way the FCC puts it, and the terminology is easily modifiable. So I think we will always stay with a hardware mod. They might surprise me when they do a firmware mod, but right now everything is a hardware modification because of the phrasing, not easily modifiable.
Okay. Couple of other quick questions that I had. Do we have an approximate price point for the 705?
We've got an idea of what it's going to be, but until I get FCC certification, the product can't be marketed as for sale. So we're showing preliminary pre-release things, doing videos on prototypes, but not saying anything official about price or delivery.
Well, Ray, thank you so much for joining the YouTubers bunch, and it is great seeing you here at the YouTubers Hamfest, our very first one, and we're very much looking forward to seeing that 705. So thanks again for joining us, and guys, stay tuned because all of these guys here got more stuff coming your way. All right, my friends, we are merely a few days away from the big live stream, the YouTubers Hamfest live day on YouTube. And we promised you any updated information on the new forthcoming Icom IC-705. I have Ray Novak back with me here. Ray, what do we have new to report on the 705?
Well, Friday of last week, a couple of web pages were launched on the IC-705 that answered a lot of people's questions. So this is the English version. We've got both English and Japanese, multilingual here. They talk about the battery pack and how long it would last, approximately 3 hours with 5 watts. And we're talking about a 118 or 1080 for in FM mode as well, but for receive standby, transmit receive standby.
Okay.
A little bit more information on the Bluetooth wireless
Now,
LAN.
for those that don't understand what 1188 is, can you explain that real quick?
Yes, it is a ratio of percentages. So you take a look at an hour, 10% of that 1 hour would be transmit, 10% would be receiving, and then the final 80% would be just with it in standby mode. We talked about the Bluetooth and wireless LAN. A lot of these features are going to be available, or more features will be available with future firmware upgrades. Micro USB connector for your digital modes, your sound card. The D-Star functions with the picture mode. There's going to be software available as well as a Android and an iOS app for it. Pretty much all the bands that it will receive and transmit. It goes up to 199.99 megahertz, then picks back up at 400 to 470. AM broadcast, FM broadcast. But then the magic numbers that a lot of people have been asking about is the current drain. With the battery pack, it's 7.4 volt DC. So we're looking at maximum received audio, 700 mils, RX standby, 400 mils. Now, I've seen a few people got a little alarmed at that high current rate, but it's very simple. P equals IE. So you've got a lower voltage rating and you're going to have higher current. But when you go to an external battery pack or 13.8 volt DC, you're looking at 260 mils in standby. That is with the screen on, but still 260 mils with that band scope display is pretty impressive.
That is, I'll tell you what, with that kind of a display on there and touch screen and all that technology, this is very, very cool.
And then the supplied accessories being the speaker microphone, a BP272 battery pack, and then the OPC 2421 DC power cable. But
Ray, do we have any idea or any clue right now how far along we are or where we are with maybe FCC certification and a possible release date?
Well, that's one of the exciting things about it. Possible release date in the Japanese market, the Japanese domestic market, it's going to be shipping to the dealers in June.
Wow.
So
very nice.
It's right around the corner. FCC normally will take somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, but right now, I don't know what they're doing in a pandemic situation. Well,
Okay.
hams think that getting it certified is equal to essential services. I don't know if they'll see it that same way, but fingers crossed that will be quite quickly.
And I know that you have been testing out some prototype antennas. I know you said Alpha is working on a mag loop, and
Yes.
Buddy Pole is working on the Buddy Pole. Are those nearing completion, or are those out yet, or where are we with that stuff?
I think we're pretty close on the mag loop. The prototypes look good. They've passed our testing. I have a prototype of the Buddy Pole, but have not gone through all the formal testing yet on that.
Okay. Ray, thank you so much for coming back on the show and showing everybody all the updated information on the 705. Man, I think we're all just chomping at the bit.
73, everybody.
73.